Podcast.
G'day, welcome back to the Shit Dad podcast, where we hear fatherhood experiences through the eyes of average Aussie blokes. I'm Cam, husband of 4 years, father to a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I hope to one day eventually shower by myself again.
And I'm Nick, married father of 3 kids, aged 2, 4 and 6. One-on-one, they're all fine, but all together, they're little pricks.
Now, last episode we spoke to Mark, father of 3 and our own fit stopper popper. He taught us about community and a positive mindset for fatherhood. So if you haven't heard that one, go back and take a listen. Now, if you're enjoying the Shit Daddery, find the follow button and give it a bit of the old left, right, good night.
Give it a whack. Pow!
We're always
Right in the
open
kisser.
to feedback, suggestions and Shit Dad stories. So send your stories or jokes through to shitdadpod@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram messages at shitdadpod.
Don't forget, we've teamed up with Smashing Fibers Apparel, and if you go on there online and buy heaps of stuff, like everything on there, they've got a great range of gear, good gym gear, good work gear, good round-the-house gear, good sexy time gear. But yeah, whatever you buy, use ship shit free at the checkout for free shipping.
All right. Dad stuff quote of the week. What do you got, mate?
I've got one that is just so relatable to every father, every parent really. So we've got a few mamas that listen to this pod as well. But it's all fun and games until Netflix remove the only movie your kids shut up to watch. Am I right?
Yeah.
Moana.
Fuck them.
Moana.
Moana? Oh, filthy. I'm sort of glad we bought Disney. So we went to Netflix, and then when they started rotating everything, we realised, and we thought, nah, okay, $10 a month for Disney is worth every cent.
We, as I've mentioned a few times in the past, we're in the thick of that Disney princess phase. And part of me enjoyed it to begin with because I get a bit of nostalgia for watching it with my sister.
Has your girl dressed you up yet? Or tried?
Tried. We're dressing up the youngest boy.
Oh, yeah, nice. You're just passing the buck there.
The life doll.
Yeah. Awesome.
So this episode is called Carpe Diem Dad, and we're going to be talking to Scott, husband and father of 2 to a 5-year-old and an 8-month-old. Now, he met Nick through his local community group, and their kids go to school together, and I've heard that you guys live pretty close together, so...
Like, so close that we should be almost catching up weekly, but we've yet to catch up once.
It's more on the walk around the block.
Yelling
The old
across the
wave.
road, yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself, Scott.
So father of 2, married 9 years tomorrow.
Wow.
So hit that one tomorrow.
Got something planned?
Yeah, the eldest is going to Osh, so she's gone.
Yep.
There's a little trick and tip for you.
Wow.
Still got the young one though.
Oh, that's a shame.
There's naps.
But yeah, no, so 9 years, there's even a bit of tight-ass dad there. Got married on a Sunday. Cheaper than doing it on the Saturday with the minimum spend.
Love it.
But HP teacher, doing that for 14 years or so. Sporting tragic. Love my rugby, league or union. But would literally watch marbles if I had to. But other than
Sports.
that, yes, yeah. Give me anything, I'll sit down and watch it. But yeah, pretty much dad life. Work,
Right in the thick of it.
and then and jump back in with the little one. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. Well, looking forward to getting into that in a sec. But before we do, should we get to beer of the week?
I reckon so, yeah. What do you got, Scotty?
Well, I've got my own personal one because I have to and chose to stop drinking about 5 months ago. So I've actually brought in, it's James Squire, 0 alcohol. So I've struggled to find a beer that I can still drink that is no alcohol, but because I love beer in general,
Don't
it's
we
a
all?
sad moment. But no, this one I've actually quite liked and actually hits the mark to the point that I can actually enjoy it even after mowing my lawn.
Oh, wow.
So James Squire, 0 alcohol free.
get around it.
Well,
Hell yeah.
have to give it a go.
I've actually bought one as well today, Cam, because not that I don't trust Scott. I just usually, every time I get paid, I'll get a carton just for the fortnight. And I've gone with Crony because it's perfectly balanced with true Aussie flavour. Crony ales are brewed to enjoy with those mates who stand by you through thick and thin. And I thought it was quite relatable for this podcast.
Yeah. Good name.
I like it. Now, I've thought I'd like to bring something in this week, Cam. I know in the last couple of weeks we've been doing the bad dad advice.
Yep.
I want to keep that because it's going really well, and I've learned a lot of things from the boys and people who have messaged in. But today I want to do something a little bit different.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Okay.
Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
All right, so
That's awesome.
on the back of that, this segment is called "Fuck This Shit, I'm Out." Okay, it's basically for the bloke, the parent who comes home, walk through the door, something happens, or they see something, and they just straight away just close their eyes and go, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." What do you got, Cam?
Last night, my daughter woke up and she's been really good lately. She's been sleeping through and, having no issues. It's been not too bad the last few weeks. But last night she woke up and did one of the old, I'm not tired, I'm sitting up.
To fuck you aren't.
Yeah. Tried to cut for about a minute and I just said, fuck this, I'm out. And I went to the wife, I'm like, you're up. And I said to her, to my daughter, do you want mummy? She goes, yeah. And my wife goes, fuck you.
So you both said, fuck this shit, I'm out. What do you got, Scott?
I haven't had too many lately, but it's probably more so to deal with the fact that I grew up with two brothers. So having a girl was totally new to me and everything about the growing with her, and as a 5-year-old. The other day I literally walked into the lounge room and there's my 5-year-old daughter in a Hawaiian outfit. So it's a hula skirt. And it's literally like hula boob tube, no shirt underneath because it's a bra dad.
Oh, no.
Swaying her hips and strutting her stuff. And I looked at my wife who thinks it's the best thing ever.
Oh,
and as a
what a
father,
diva.
I just looked at her and went, fuck it, I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm gone. And
This is
walked
above my pay
straight
grade.
through and got out of there quicker than I could.
Nope.
Yeah, straight in. Nope. Bye. Love it. This happened to me just this morning. Got off a night shift and bless my wife, she does a cracking job at keeping the place livable when I'm at work. But she actually had her own fuck this shit, I'm out. Because when I walked in the door this morning at 7:30 in the morning, it was like a fucking bomb had struck. It was, the kids had trashed the joint. And she's just sitting there with her head in her hands. And I've walked in and gone, it's like just the exhale, and you're just like, nah, one of us, someone's got to lift here. Someone's got to come through with the goods. So dad voice came out.
Oh.
Sounded like Hitler.
Did it work though?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they started packing up. They
I
weren't
don't
too
even have
happy
to
with
understand
it.
the words.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Just throw it out there. So, yeah.
Very nice. All right, now let's get into our discussion for the week. So, as mentioned, we've got Scott on today. He's got a really interesting story, and we wanted to kind of delve into that and ask a bit about your journey and how you've gotten to today. So, thanks for coming in first and foremost. And I think we want to start perhaps with your pregnancy and birth experience of your first child. Take us back to kind of how that came about, and then your experience that with your wife.
Yeah, so the whole falling pregnant part wasn't really a major issue for us. It kind of happened pretty quickly, so we were fortunate with that. But it was probably more so the pregnancy itself, the time with it. My wife has a blood condition, which she's more prone to clotting. So that meant for her, she all the pregnancy, she had to have a needle every night, which I gave to her, which was, some people would say you get to literally stab your wife. If she pissed me off, then
It'll take a little bit longer to find that vein.
didn't have to find the vein at least, but she actually has a needle phobia.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
every night was a battle for her, and that made it real interesting for those 8-9 months of that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, most of it was all else was as should be. Just obviously she got monitored a lot more and things like that happened, but it was a planned cesarean. So with our first one, it was quite a bit of a funny one with it that so you're booked in for your cesarean, ready to go. About 5 days before, I think it was about 3 a.m, my wife woke up. Things were a bit interesting. She went, "Oh, I'm all good, I'm going back to bed." I went, okay. I went back to sleep. 6 a.m, I got up and I was going to go for a park run. And she goes, "I think my waters broke last night."
Oh,
And I went, "Really? And what'd you do?" She goes, "Oh, I went back to bed. I went to the bathroom. I thought I was okay, so I went back to bed." I went, "Have they broken?" She goes, "I don't know." And we didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
So I go, "Do you want to go to the hospital? Do you want to call a doctor? What do you want to do?" She goes, "Oh, no, go for your run. I'll call you if I need you." I went, "Okay." So I literally went to my park run, caught up with mates, got home, 8 a.m, walked in, she's having a shower, and I go, "What's the plan?" She goes, "Oh, I'm going to have a shower, just got to do my hair, makeup, and then we're going to go to the hospital." I went, "So what do you mean?" She goes, "Oh, I'm pretty sure they broke, but I'll just get ready first." And then we'll go in. So literally, I started to get our hospital bag and everything together, got sorted. She did everything she needed to do in getting ready, and we went on in. And they got us and went, "No, because cesarean was booked early. No, doctor came in, had a check, and went, 'No, yeah, your waters are broke.'" So we went straight in. We're literally in the room for the cesarean still because needed to within 5 minutes of walking in.
Wow.
So that was that part, which is all good. Daughter came. She was all great. Held her up. The rest of it, had our little moment together. I went and cut the cord, and they took me outside. And that's where it got a bit interesting. So I was outside and doing the whole weighing and stuff and whatnot as your dad, and you're holding your firstborn, and I was kind of thinking, what do I do?
yeah.
The nurse walks off, so I'm literally sitting on a chair on my own doing just...
How do I hold it?
I was like, cool, she's not doing anything. Is this normal?
What now?
But in that time, I was unaware at the time, my wife started losing a lot of blood, and they kept her in, and they had to sort out whatever was causing it and the issues that were going on with her, to the point that when we finally got in to see her, so my daughter and I, they took us into the waiting room outside the surgical area, and my wife was still, as much as not finished, she was out of it. She was still hazy. They had 3 nurses around her, heart rate, blood pressure monitoring her, and she was barely able to talk just because she was that gone, drowsy, and they can't say exactly what they say. It is common, but to the point that they were quite concerned, and we stayed up there for a fair bit of time, and even to then, we'd kind of settled on it, the name being Delilah. But even then they said, "Oh, the nurse is asking me, what's her name?" And I went, "I don't know." Because I need my wife to say, "Yes, that's definitely the name we're picking."
I'm going to check with the boss.
And she's not really with it right now. Who knows what the name could be if we went with whatever came out. But yeah, that was pretty scary in terms of even just sitting there when I was with my wife and she was that groggy and that out of it, and there were still nurses around with the blood pressure and the heart rate, and it was dropping real rapidly and then going back up and things like that. So that was a bit scary / kind of like, well, shit, what do I do? Because I was sitting there holding a newborn going, what's my job?
I don't have milk.
Yeah, and that was it. Then they even tried to put my daughter on, and my wife could barely hold her, and the nurses were holding my daughter, trying to get her to feed and get things like that. And yeah, so I just kind of sat there and was a dad doing nothing as normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Business as usual.
But yeah.
Feeling a bit helpless.
Yeah, and that was it. But and a bit scary because to see my wife like that was pretty full on.
Yeah.
To be honest. And then obviously with that she came, they did manage to sort it out and whatever, it was all good. We got moved to our room, and it still took her a couple of hours till she was with it and fully functioning in terms of understanding and looking at everything and knowing what's going on, then to be able to be as a family then.
Yeah, right. Tough for her to miss out, I guess, on those early moments as well. You know, usually that's quite a unique time.
Yeah, and we got the part where we got to hold her straight away, but then after that, yeah, instead of, we're going to feed now and this or that and go down to your room and have your own private area, we were still up in surgery and around everyone, and people rushing around, looking at things, monitoring machines and whatnot. So it was definitely a different first experience or newborn time.
You said you had to stay a little while in hospital?
So because of cesarean, I think we were there for at least 5 nights.
Yep.
And and that was just all about matter of making sure she was able to recover. She was all good to be up and moving after the cesarean and whatnot, and be able to actually go home.
Yeah.
That was all pretty straightforward, pretty normal for us while we were in hospital. And that was all good. And so then we went home. Was at home for about 2 days, and my wife went, and we kind of had like that day or so where we felt we were all good. We got to be at home, being a family, and then my wife was like,
Sorry.
it was also your face going, I tried to do it quiet. And my wife's just like, no, I don't feel right. Something's not right. And then all of a sudden, one morning she woke up, and it would have been, my daughter would have been maybe a week old, and she just started losing blood again.
Yeah, right.
So we rushed back into hospital. They got her in there, checked her out, and she had a postpartum hemorrhage. And once they investigated, they actually found out that they'd actually left some of the placenta inside.
Oh,
Crazy.
that's a fuck up.
Just a small one.
Something
Supposedly
you would not plan, like you can't expect at all. It's just like random. Yeah.
No. And supposedly it's not that uncommon at times.
Right.
But
Crikey.
so that resulted in another operation for my wife, and where they had to go in and make sure everything was cleaned out and everything was all good and everything was back to normal. And that was a whole nother another fun story. A part of it was so we went back into hospital. We were back up in the birthing area, so there was newborns all around and whatnot. So my daughter was about a week old, and we were in there in the morning. They took my wife off 9, 10 a.m. I got left with a bottle of breast milk and whatnot, and said, here you go, enjoy for the day, put her to sleep when you need to, and feed her. And so I literally just sat in the hospital room watching TV and holding my daughter and putting her, like literally as a newborn does, awake for a little bit, back to sleep, have a feed, back to sleep. Time ticked on, kind of went, oh yeah, they're still not back yet. Okay, haven't heard anything. And so by now it actually got to around 3, 4 p.m. and she went in at like 9. And I went and saw the nurses and said, something going, oh, we'll find out, we'll call down. Came back, oh no, we haven't heard anything yet. Okay, is this normal? Oh, it'll be all right. They would have called if something's all wrong or if whatnot. I think my wife came back to the ward and back to the room would have been 6, 7 p.m.
Wow.
That's the whole day, yeah? Just waiting.
Whole day. And it was literally for a procedure that is probably about an hour.
That just stinks of the doctor's version of a bond cleaner. It's taken way longer than they have to.
So when my wife actually came back, she was good. But she goes, has no one told you? I went, told me what? I'm literally holding, and in that time, my daughter decided to do her first power vomit.
Oh, nice.
Jeez.
So I was actually in a jumper because that's all I had because my shirt was totally destroyed and covered. So I was sweating in a jumper going, this is great. I've got no other clothes. We're only meant to be here a couple of hours. And she goes, I'm like, what's going on? She goes, oh, well, surgery went fine. But when I came to the recovery room, a nurse was talking to me and I was feeling all good. And then she goes, all of a sudden, I leant back and I started to feel myself unable to breathe. I would stop breathing and my eyes started to close and I had no idea and I couldn't gasp for breath. And she said I just started grabbing on for things and whatnot. And then that's the last thing she remembers.
Oh.
And what it was that they'd given her a drug to help her come out of surgery, and she had it's like an anaphylactic, but there's another word for it, where basically she started to stop breathing. And again, so that's why, and it's probably a good thing I didn't know at the time, because like I look back at it after that and I went, well, this shit, what was I meant to do?
Yeah.
I had a 7-day-old daughter who it was my first, so I had no idea. And my wife, for the second time in a week, almost, so to speak, passed away almost.
Yeah.
Gee
I
whiz.
was just like, I could have been a single dad within a week.
Yeah.
Almost twice.
With a brand new baby.
With a brand new baby. And that was all on the fact of, one was the drug, but the second one was just literally pregnancy that could have caused it, and unbeknown or anything that could have stopped it.
Were you upset or angry at the doctors for not telling you, or?
I was angry at the time, but I kind of think my relief took over. When
Yeah.
I heard what had happened, I was more like focused on how my wife was and going like her state and how she was, and that my daughter was okay and able to feed then and whatnot. And so, because I think I only had a bottle, maybe 2. So, because we didn't plan for that long a time, so it was more. I was angry, but the relief and the care for her and my daughter took over.
Yes.
Probably more so as a priority.
Yeah. The distraction there.
Yeah.
It's almost better that you didn't know. Because
yeah.
you like imagine your angst for the next 5-6 hours, not knowing what is happening, if she's alive or dead.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And so how did that then set you guys up for the next few weeks? Were you a bit on edge that whole,
Oh, definitely.
Went home?
We went home, and I think we were home within the next day. And it was more so then like, instead of, hey, let's go for a walk or be out and enjoy ourselves as you can, it was more like, let's not do too much. Let's not do this. Let's make sure you're okay, you're rested, the recovery, all those kind of things, because didn't want to risk or running the chance of what if.
Scotty, did you, we talked about a few times now, like that initial, when you first have a new baby and you check on them like 50 times a night to see if they're still breathing. Were you doing the same with your wife?
Kind of.
I can't imagine not.
But I'd say she was almost like even more so than me with the poke of the baby. So checking on her was easy, because if I was awake, I'd just check, because she was probably awake poking the baby.
Just give her a kick.
She was
The wife, not the baby.
She was already checking, like, I've heard, like, we had the pads, the sensors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Yeah, they got removed pretty quickly when they just rolled 30 centimetres off, and it went off in the middle of the night.
That first panic.
And you get there and you go, oh, they're just to the side. It doesn't even cover it.
There you go, lads. Don't buy them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I'd check on her, and like, that's the thing, like, a lot of times she'd be, not that she would ignore it, but she's like, no, I'm okay. But I'm like, are you really? Because a week ago,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. And even that post recovery for the cesarean, takes months, doesn't it? So it would have been pretty hands on that whole time.
Well, yeah, and luckily, both my kids have been born in January, so school holidays, then had another 2 weeks in the first 2 weeks of school off being a teacher. So I was home for pretty much the first 5 to 6 weeks of both my kids, which made it a lot easier. And that's what I don't know how people do it when it's only like a week after and they're back at work, and the mum is literally, here you go, you're 7 days after birth, even natural birth, and go for it. And partner's got to go to work and be back at 5, 6, whatever, who knows. Like, full credit to them, because we didn't have to do that, thankfully, but which meant I could be hands-on, I could be doing
drive
a lot more.
around.
I could be driving, even like I could be doing the stuff for baby with in terms of changing, moving, bathing, all that kind of stuff, where my wife didn't have to move as much and get up and down constantly. If she woke up, I'll go get her from the cot. You sit down. You've had surgery, you've had this. Yeah. I'll go get her.
Surprised you weren't putting her in a wheelchair, just wheeling around everywhere.
Could have been.
How do you look after your own sanity? Like, sounds like you were just on edge the whole time. Did you do anything to sort your own mental health out?
Probably didn't do enough. Probably could have done more. But I think probably more so the fact that you kind of like, again, that fight or flight, and you kind of go, well, it's just got to get done.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's a newborn in trouble.
Yeah.
And a wife who's in trouble. Do what you got to do, otherwise.
So you stood up and just got it done until you
get it done until you have to, and it never hurts. You may not chat to mates or whatnot about exactly what's happened, but just those times out chatting about shit and nothing, and just that break, just that general, that helps, and that's always a positive where you can just switch off.
Yeah. Did you get into the old PlayStation? Crack into that bad boy?
Especially when there's like, they're up at 2 a.m, okay, and 5 a.m. I've never watched so much Premier League football.
Yes. And we were talking about that.
And English Rugby Union. Because I'm like, you're awake? Oh, actually, there's a game on. Well, I might as well watch it.
I'll take this one, love.
Yeah, well, the first half, I might as well.
Yeah, spot on.
So one time the time difference is a good thing.
Yeah.
You're not actually trying to find something to put on or at least keep yourself awake.
Yeah. The one time you don't have to wait up till 1:30 to watch a game. Yeah, I love it.
Well, yes, that's an interesting, and that's just, the first bit of your story. So you've obviously mentioned that you've got an 8-month-old son as well.
Yep.
So my first question was how did your experience with baby number one shape your approach to the second one?
So I'll be honest, we were a lot more prepared, especially knowing about like the needles and things and the blood clotting that my wife had to deal with. Like we figured out ways to make it hurt less, spots to do it, how to do it, ice packs after or before to numb it, things like that. There's little tricks and things. And so like that, we were more prepared, and just not that part, but a lot of it where we were like, okay, we knew that this happened, or this was the way of doing it, or this was the easiest way. And just those kind of things just made it so much easier in terms of we knew what we were in for, so to speak. It also helped our daughter was, by then I think she was 4, so a lot more independent. Whereas so like when my wife especially got later in the pregnancy, it wasn't all like we were still chasing her around. It was go get dressed, go sort yourself out.
Yeah. Was she good with that, a little one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, she's very Miss Independent, and
The one time when them being stubborn and independent was actually really good.
yeah.
Encourage that.
Mine's really stubborn and independent, but at the wrong times. Like at bedtime when I'm like, oh, go get your jammies on. She'll come out with like a full like tracksuit, bluey tracksuit, like
Middle of summer.
yeah, normal day clothes, middle of summer. She's in a bluey's tracksuit, and you try and take it away, and she's like, no, bluey. I'm like, fuck. That's like a fuck this shit. I'm out.
Yeah, we've got the one where we've got like house clothes.
Oh yeah,
and good clothes and stuff and whatnot. And my wife's really good with all that. And yet my daughter was like, no, I don't want it from the house clothes drawer. I want to look like a princess, Dad. I was like, oh, well, I want to look beautiful. I was like, really?
you look beautiful anyway.
You always do. And, no, that drawer's house clothes.
Shut up, Dad. I know what you're doing.
So, a bit of a gap there between the kids. Can you tell everyone about that as well?
Yeah, so we'd always planned for a bit of a gap in general, but we were looking to say like when my daughter was about 4, we would want to have our second, just because it would have allowed for my wife. We actually kind of went, well, if you're at home with the newborn, daughter's last year before prep, you get, she's home. She's only going 3 days a week. You'd be home for 2 days with her, spend time with her. So you get a bit of the newborn and time with our daughter. But sadly, my wife was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, which that whole situation put everything back for us.
Yeah.
So that was actually related to the pregnancy in terms of our diagnosis actually. She wasn't feeling great, had a few different things go on just symptoms-wise, but nothing untoward that made us think, oh, my God, there's got to be something terrible with you. It was more like, oh, there's something not right. And so she went and got checked out for different things, and they came back. She had an ultrasound for something, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but they said, oh, yeah, and the report came back from the pathologist, not from the doctor, and they said, yeah, everything's good here, but the nodule on your thyroid has grown 3 times the size in 18 months. And the doctor said, oh, there's this. And we went, what nodule? And they had to go back, and it was when she was pregnant with Delilah that they realised they thought she might have had a thyroid concern, and they scanned it, and it came back there was supposedly a small nodule. But we were never told. It was never something to be concerned about. And it was only because the pathologist, when they keep the records, when they did the next scan, that measurement came up, and they said, well, this one's now grown. And we went, well, what the hell is that? And so, so then she had to go through a bunch of tests, and she was diagnosed with, thyroid cancer.
Shit. So what did you, obviously you put the next bub on hold to kind of deal with that. What was that like while trying to manage a 4-year-old as well?
Oh, it was definitely, it was with the 4-year-old, especially how much do you tell them? How much do they understand? How much are they going to comprehend, or how much are they just going to freak out? Because if you tell them too much, they go to the 10th degree and think, okay, yep, someone's dying or whatnot, and things like that. And
they're not stupid though.
No, that's the thing. You can't hide it from them.
Yeah.
Mum's going for a lot of tests. Mum's going to hospitals. Mum then eventually it was surgery. So you couldn't. It was nothing you could. So we told her the parts that we thought she needed to know. We explained that we told her it was cancer. We told her what it does and why they need to cut it out and things like that. And we told her didn't give her the odds or anything, but told her how oh no, it's meant to be good. Mum should be right once we come home, and we'll do this and that and things like that. But yeah, she wasn't stupid. There was definitely times when you could tell she was a bit flat or down, and it was because of what was happening, or she was seeing Mum come home and Mum was sad. mum was crying, why is mum crying, things like that, which, again, you're not going to hide from them, but you explain what you need to and what you can within the realms of a 4-year-old mind of what they can understand and put in their kind of terminology to some degree. Because I'll be honest, I don't understand half of it either that comes from the doctors. So
Yeah.
And then did you have to pivot to be kind of like the main parent that was, there all the time?
So the good thing about it, like not the good thing about it, but and this is the thing I probably hate it the most is it's if you, as you do, you Google everything.
Oh.
But like it's called the good cancer.
Yeah.
Because it's a low percentage that is fatal and whatnot and things like that, and it is easier to surgically remove and whatnot and function without and stuff like that. But it was still pretty scary, and to think, like, I'll be honest, like it's do either of you guys remember when you got told you were going to be a dad, like where you were or what?
Roughly. I think I was in my room. I was sitting on the bed. I was glad I was sitting down. Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like some people talk about.
Oh shit.
See, some people talk about that, and I'm like, I actually can't remember but I can remember the day, the time, and exactly when my wife called me and said, "Hey, come home." I was on the way home already, but it's cancer.
Oh
Shit.
And like I remember, I was about 20 minutes from home, and I went, "Okay," hung up, and then I had a 20-minute drive of just.
Worst case scenario.
What? And yeah, that's the thing. And so that was pretty full on to deal with and go through and think about, because for that 20 minutes, that's where I had no information, no nothing, but I was like, shit.
So Scott, how do you deal with that information? Obviously, you're saying you had a 20-minute drive of, oh shit, what am I going to do? But initially, for other dads listening who could possibly get that sort of news in the one day in the future, how do you deal with that? Like after you've had a 20-minute car ride to process.
The 20, and that's the thing. I had thought a lot about in terms of, well, I don't know everything yet, and knowing my wife, I'm like, she's going to freak. Naturally, given right to also, because it's happening to her, not me.
Yeah.
But I kind of went in the mindset of, I've just got to go in here and find out as much information as I can, so then I can help her. Reassure, but help her so she doesn't have to try and sift through it all and try and understand it all as much, because she's already going to be thinking what's happening to her because it's inside of her. And so it was more so, all right, so I went in with, tell me everything that you want to tell me that you can, because I also went with the fact she probably doesn't remember half of what the doctor actually said.
Yeah.
After the C word.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from that I was going, okay, so this means what's the next appointment, what's the next step? So then I could be, all right, this is what we'll do, this is where we're at, and this is what I can do, and you just need to do this, which is predominantly for her was, I was just like, you just need to be happy and look after yourself in terms of how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And pretty hard to say be happy, but...
Yeah. You stood up and you said, nah, we're going to tackle this.
We'll sort it.
We're
and
good.
And like, I can say that, but she had to do it all. So
Yeah, of course.
full credit to her. But
Yeah.
like, it was that whole mindset of, well, I'll do everything here in terms of managing what I can, so you don't have to worry about that, because you're already concerned yourself with more than enough right now.
Yeah. And you mentioned that she had to isolate a bit by herself, and with the radiation.
So the first one, she went in for surgery, and that was to remove half the thyroid. So she did that, and that was done in a couple of hours. She was in hospital, I think, for maybe a night, max 2 nights, and came home. Within 2 days, we had a phone call from her doctor to say, no, we've checked it out, the part they cut out, and the walls are broken, so it's spreading. So come back in, and we're removing the whole thyroid. So within 5 days, she had 2 operations of the same, to remove half, then remove the other half. So then it was back in hospital again for a couple of nights, do the whole surgery all over again. And for the thyroid, it's literally like a cut across the middle of your neck, which for her, like drinking after, food after, things like that, to have it twice in a week, even though they use the same scar line, the rest of it, is definitely took a toll in terms of just her, not just mentally, but physically, having to get over 2 surgeries in that time. And also for us, for like me and Delilah, we were dealing, like she still had childcare and things like that, because we tried to keep things as normal as possible for her. She still knew mum was going into hospital and things like that, but we figured if she's going to sit at home, she's not going to do anything. She's going to ask questions. Where she goes to kindy, she's playing with her friends. She knows what's going on, but she has that distraction and enjoys herself.
So with that distraction, were you doing stuff as much as you could on the weekends? Like you were obviously visiting mum and looking after mum, but were you doing things to keep Delilah's mind off what was going on?
Yeah, absolutely. That probably came in then. So it would have been a couple of months later. They follow up and they do the blood test to see how your levels are at and whatnot for the cancer and that. And they said they got it all. They were happy with it. But the levels were still high enough that they wanted to give her radiation to kill off anything else that was left. So that was, we wanted to avoid it, but couldn't. So that was it. So Beck went in again to hospital, and she had radiation, which literally a bit weird because they go into a room where the nurses monitor through them a CCTV camera, because they're not allowed in there once they have the radiation, because it seeps out of their body. So then they can't be exposed to it themselves. So she went in, and again, so she's isolated on her own, and they bring in this container that's like a lead container and deal with tongs, and it's this little tablet. It's like taking an aspirin, and that was radiation. Wow. So she had that, and she was in hospital for a couple of days with that. Again, in that room, which is like when they brought in her food, they'd beep in, and she'd have to go stand in the corner of the room so they could open the door, move the tray, and then close the door, because they just had to keep her as far away from anybody as possible, because basically through sweating out, pores and whatnot, all that kind of stuff, that's how radiation comes back out of your body.
Radioactive man.
There was a number of jokes that I had and things, but there was
just trying to keep it lighthearted, you know.
Oh, definitely time
keep her happy.
That's I've still made comments now afterwards. I've waited a number of years though.
Yeah, definitely.
Where I'm just waiting for her superhero powers to come out.
Yes.
Super mom.
She would have felt like a prisoner, like in a way.
Yeah, and so and it's a bit weird because there's a number of rooms. She said that so everyone's in different rooms next door to each other and things like that, but all can't talk, can't be around, can't see other people or whatnot. So definitely, you're surrounded by people doing all the same thing and going through the exact same thing as you, but you can have no contact whatsoever. And so yeah,
wow.
Big one from that though when she came home, because she's still radioactive, so to speak. Easiest way to put it.
Glowing green.
Didn't look like the Mr. Burns coming out of the forest. But so she actually didn't come to stay at home because the exposure to children's even worse. So because of Delilah, she went and stayed at her parents' house. And even then, she had her own room, own cutlery that we binned after, things like that. She could be around her parents being older, but still only for an hour or so. And so wouldn't risk it. So she was literally at her parents for a whole nother week and had to do that every day, how it was. So it's still very limited contact, and she didn't see Delilah at all in person, or myself for that week, plus the hospital time. And so that week, 7+ days was me and Delilah. So at that stage, she was at childcare still.
Yeah.
And I was at work, but it was literally afternoons, what can we do to make things fun and take away that distraction of where's mum? Can I
Pizza
see
for
mum?
dinner. You want ice cream?
Well, if you ask mum, there was planned meals every night.
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
They were
And they
planned.
were super nutritious.
Absolutely. But so that was tough on me, but also I'd say probably more so on my wife, because she was the one totally out of it. It was really cool how she handled it though. I'll give her credit for that. Was going into surgery, unsure of what would come out of it, and especially with thyroid because it's your voice. So she actually had this bear made that you can record a voice into.
Wow.
So she did that with her voice talking to Delilah, and that kind of made me think, shit, this is a bit real.
Yeah.
Because even though she said, look, it may not happen, she goes, what if it does? I don't want it to be the last thing she ever hears from me. Or
What was the company you did that?
I think just one of those Build-A-Bear things.
Oh, okay.
You can put a recorder into a battery recorder inside that.
Yeah, wow.
Great idea.
You can make any sound you want in it. But
Yeah, well, yeah.
and so it can be a bit freaky though, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Because even now, if my daughter takes it to bed and she rolls over, all of a sudden you hear this voice from the bedroom. It's actually my wife's voice.
What is that?
And then
Give the missus a kick. Wake up! You hear that?
who's this other woman? And then when she did the radiation that whole week, she'd actually planned a small gift each afternoon for Delilah.
Oh.
And like it was little, like one was a new bedtime book.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So there was nothing, but there was always something from Mum that afternoon when she came home.
Yeah.
So there was at least something that she knew Mum had given her or left a note for her with something. And like some things were like some activities for outside, some game stuff. So we'd go play them straight away. So it kept that distraction, but still had that connection, which was nice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So, you know, you've just said in the space of, you know, kind of 4 or so years, you've almost lost your wife 3 times, essentially. What kind of, like, how does that affect your outlook on life as a family, for yourself, you know, for your kids?
It was massive, especially like beforehand, like that. You just look at things and what you do in time and stuff like that, and how you use your time. And I don't want to be all like, philosophizing about this and whatnot.
No one's thinking that.
No, ever. But like, especially my wife started it, and it was just like how we spend our time and what we prioritise massively. And so our family time is huge for us. Yeah. So our weekends, our afternoons, our nights, whatever is planned, like we've got this calendar on our fridge, and oh my God, you have to book 2 months in advance.
I think we can all relate to that, but maybe not to your extent.
Yeah.
But like, and it's just like even to the point, like in our weekends, it won't be a matter of if something's on, and it doesn't have to be huge things, but it can be as simple as, you know, going into the city and going out for lunch somewhere,
yeah.
or literally packing up the food into a picnic basket and going somewhere and finding a new playground. But it's how like just it's time together that's valued, and it's not just we're not just sitting at home, or if we are, we're doing things still. But it's not also one of us is out every week, or we're always alternating or splitting up and between. It's always valued as what are we doing, where are we going, and putting that value on our family time and that time together.
Did that strengthen when you had your second child?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And especially my daughter, she's absolutely just infatuated with him and always wanted to be the mum, and is literally a third parent, which is really good at times, actually. It's kind of like, oh, can you just go sort him out?
We just go on the movies. Yeah. Just look after him.
And she would say, yeah, no worries, see you later. Yeah. She wouldn't have an issue with it. But
we won't wait up.
So, yeah, so to have that and see that connection with them building and that bond that goes with them is brilliant, and I absolutely love it. It's cool just to sit back and watch. But also then, like, it's just to have the 4 of us then, and it's also after everything, we got to have our second. So to have him, it's like, cool, this is how good is this? It's what we had planned for and wanted, and now we actually have him. And now we can actually go keep doing those things and sharing those moments and those things with him now.
Yeah, because you could have just called it and said, no, we'll just keep what we've got, just keep the one child.
Well, that's radiation. There's no guarantee, but they say like at least 6 months after to wait for pregnancy in case of anything. And then after that, they said it was like, oh, well, there's still chances. And so we just kind of had to go still. Well, we had that chat and went, well, no, we still want to see, and we want a second child. So, and obviously nothing untoward came unless he comes out with super strength or something later on, or something else coming up. But we'll see what happens.
It's the one bright side to having radiation. How do you so moving more towards your home life now, how do you cope at home when your cup gets full? When it all gets too much?
For me, my big thing is just that downtime with sport.
Yeah.
Because I switch off.
Would you say that's your escape?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one would be, it comes and goes depending on lifestyle. It doesn't always keep going with, but running.
Oh, yeah?
I'll go for a 5K run, no dramas. And that gives me, 25 minutes, half an hour where it's just, I'll listen to something, music, podcast, whatever it might be. And that time is just me.
Nice.
And so I got to the point that couldn't really do it early in the morning as much anymore, because kids will just wake up whenever I try to do it with my daughter when she was young, thinking, you get out of the house before they wake.
Yeah.
As soon as a creak in the door or the creak down the hallway, bang, wake up. Yeah. I'm like, crap, now I can't go out.
Do you know, I tried something with that because my kids are exactly the same. They'll wake up and then wife's not the biggest morning person ever. So as soon as the kids start carrying on, because I've walked out the door, she's awake and everyone gets the shits. So I tried this thing where I walked out the back door, and we've got a new side gate where we've got like a key. So I take the key on my car keys now, and I walk out the side door and just sneak out the side gate, and then I go at that extra little step, and our driveway is a little bit of a decline, so I'll just take the handbrake off and put it in neutral and roll it down the back of the driveway, and then turn it back in the direction I'm ready to go, and then I'll turn the ignition on and speed away real quick, just in the hope that the kids don't hear a car and wake up. So I don't know if you go to that length, Scotty, but
our side gate's we got 2.
Perfect.
No, I've got to get through 2.
Oh, a bit of WD-40 is sweet.
Speaking of which, I've got some in my bag.
You got some WD in your bag.
Yep.
Just carry it.
You never know when you're gonna need to call up. Hey,
That's right. No, we've got we live in an old Queenslander, and it's that creaky floorboard, creaky door. Even I got to the point where if I was trying to go out early in the morning, I had to make sure the night before I put the car out of the garage. I didn't wake him up.
Yeah.
No matter what, though, I still wake him up.
Yeah, something always happens, doesn't it?
So I've been going for a run. Like I'll go at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
Oh wow!
And even then, like I've actually found it really good because it's a lot cooler, a lot more comfortable, and that half hour it allows me to just literally stop thinking about whatever was stressing, annoying me, whatever it might be, and just makes me feel. I come back in going, oh yeah, cool, I'm sweet now.
Happy to go.
I'm happy to go.
Yeah. So that's how you look after your dad bod. Do you do anything else? Or is running about all you can fit in?
It's probably the main thing I can fit in right now.
Hey, Scotty, before you go out on the beer, well, not so much beers, but before you go out, do you do any party push-ups? Fix those dad bod arms?
Does it look like I do?
No.
Not
For the record, I just felt his biceps. So tell us a bit more about why you said to me just off the air you gave up the beer recently. Actually, you said it on the air too. That's right, non-alcoholic.
Yeah, no. It would have been about 6 months ago now, but so it's 5 months that I haven't had a drink. 6 months ago, my wife has nagged me for been married 9 years, so probably 11 years. That I snore, that I keep her awake. To the point, one point I think for birthday, I did buy her earplugs.
Nice.
And she actually loved it. This is
the best present you've ever given me.
There were these ones that titanium steel inside.
Jeez.
Watch out all noise.
Wow.
I'm like, there you go. No issue now.
Only the best.
But then, so I finally went and saw a doctor, and they did a sleep study test, and I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. So in that night, I was like a friggin' robot plugged into all these bits and pieces where I literally had like 40 wires connected around. I don't know how people sleep with it, but it's meant to be a sleep test. Either way, but and I'll hit the pillow, I'll go to sleep, no dramas, 30 seconds, I'm out. My wife hates it.
That's unreal.
I wake up in the morning, no issue.
That's a special skill, I reckon.
I can.
Takes me a good 40 minutes.
And I can do it anywhere.
Unreal.
That's your superpower.
That's it. But so then with the sleep study test, I got the results back, and it showed that on average, I stopped breathing for 10 seconds or more 36 times in an hour.
That's unbelievable.
And so, like, I was technically awake but not awake over, 400 times in a night.
So you could wake up like you've had a great night's sleep, but you could wake up
thinking I had a great night's sleep.
Thinking you'd had a great night's sleep, but you'd actually had an absolute nightmare.
Absolutely have had a nightmare for years, supposedly.
Wow.
And just used to it, so don't know any different.
That was my normal.
Yeah.
I didn't feel myself wake up, so I didn't think I was waking up. I thought I was sleeping fine. So had that. So now I sleep with one of those lovely machines.
Oh, yeah.
So what's that? Doesn't even make that sound.
Oh, really?
They've got... that's what I thought. Like, this is going to be great.
Yeah, she's going to hate this more than the snoring.
That's what I said. But no, barely makes a sound. And,
excellent.
And it got to the point now, like I get, because it measures everything. Within 3 nights, I woke up. At one point, I woke up at 3 a.m. and got up to get ready for the day. Because I went and I had to look around. I'm like, it's still dark.
What?
And I felt like I'd had like a 10-hour sleep.
Wow.
And I just went, maybe this wasn't such a bad idea.
Man, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go for a sleep test.
But yeah, no, had that. Had a bit of surgery on my nose too. And And but the biggest thing with sleep apnea
It's
is
looking a bit nicer shape and less pointy.
I'm glad
and-
you noticed.
Yeah, nice. It really brings out the smile.
Stop it, you two.
But no, the biggest thing for sleep apnea is they say body weight and alcohol. So I just went with the fact that, well, if I'm going to stop drinking, I might as well just go cold turkey. Like, am I going to have one and then call it, or I can't have a drink after 5 p.m. because it's going to eventually get closer to nighttime and sleep time, and therefore I can't have it. So I just went, well, do you know what? It's easy just to go, don't have it, and I'll see where I end up. And so, been 5 months now since.
But you love a beer, don't you?
Absolutely.
So I'm glad you found one that you actually
I
can
don't mind
drink.
this one. If anyone knows of some non-alcoholic beer that's quality.
Well, I don't mind I tried, because I did that dry July recently, and I found out I was fanging for a beer at about three quarters through. And that Heineken, the Heineken Zero was
yeah, that one.
legit. I thought it was real good, but I haven't tried the Squires yet. So
Yeah, so no.
Had, Heaps Normal. Have you had that one?
No.
That's,
Can I actually steal one off you,
craft beer
Scotty?
kind
Yeah.
of thing.
yes.
I think it's like 0.2 or 3%. One of those.
It's still beer.
Nothing. It tasted really good.
What is it called?
Heaps Normal.
Heaps Normal.
Well, no, that's the other thing I found out, because I had to frigging Google this too, because I wouldn't even look for it. Anything that's under 0.05 is actually classed as non-alcoholic because there's not enough in it.
Oh, wow.
So,
Thank you.
like, some of them are called non-alcoholic beers, but there's like 0.01 or whatever in it, and it's actually got the smallest amount in it, but it's still classed as non-alcoholic.
Yeah, right.
That's drinkable. I actually like that.
I don't mind.
If
And
someone poured that for you like in a pub, would you know?
Wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even notice. That's really good. My word. So, Scotty, what's so beer free, you're going for runs. What's your the best version of yourself? Tell us what you physically and mentally are you there now, or what's your best version?
Nah, I actually only just got started back running again in like literally the last couple of weeks. And before that, it'd almost been 18 months since I'd done properly consistent running.
What's your time at the moment? 5K?
5K, about 26 minutes.
That's
27 minutes.
bloody impressive off a long time off. I don't think I even cracked that now. Nice.
Usually, though, with the park run,
Yeah.
I take it's with the pram and another 18 kilos with my daughter. So
Nice.
it's never that quick.
No, right.
Bit of motivation around with the park run though.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
around you, keep you going.
Well,
Definitely.
I've always had a few mates in that, and it doesn't hurt to go for a coffee after and
Oh,
whatnot.
spot on, yeah. Just cut the cake out. You're sweet. That's good. So the best version of yourself is just Scotty, who's running sub 25s.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll take that. But, no, just like for myself, it's just that prioritising my time with family and friends.
Yeah.
Because that's when I'm happiest.
Being able to switch off as well.
Haven't been able to switch off from work, from even with the family stuff, switching off from the family crap.
Yeah.
For all of us, where you can go, well, we'll stop worrying about that.
Yeah.
Whether it be from finances to the calendar on the fridge to the amount of shit that's coming up.
Yeah.
To just going, oh, well, let's just go out somewhere, let's go do something together,
Yeah.
and allowing that switch off.
That's a good one to take away from this, because I don't think a lot of us do that often enough. But what's your cheat meal?
Oh, cheat meal, KFC.
Oh, go on, tell us it's a bargain bucket.
I haven't gone that far yet, but you've got to get one of the bigger boxes, and then you've got to add a dinner roll and the rest of it.
If it's a cheat meal, why not?
you can't
treat yourself.
You can't just go, oh, I'll get this and only have it. You got to add more into the box.
Yes, but then get a Pepsi Max, because sugar's the enemy.
That's right.
And finally, mate, are you a seagull? You clean up the scraps after your kids have finished food?
Absolutely.
That is the number one dad bod contributor.
I told my wife a while ago, I go, the kids and her are the reason that I put on weight.
Oh, spot on.
Because she goes, oh, they're not going to finish. Here you go.
Yeah.
And hands it over. I'm like,
Okay.
do I have to eat this? But I'm not going to say no. But they promote it.
They promote it. Dads don't like wasting food. Because especially the ones who cook the food, they're like, I spent too long cooking this food to
is
waste
good
it.
shit,
This is
yeah.
good shit. It's going in my gob. If it's going in the bin or my gob, it's going in my gob.
We were on holidays recently and we had these donuts that we just bought. Nothing special. I think they're literally Woolies donuts.
Ugh.
They're for the daughter.
Oh.
And literally, so we were getting the donut time ones and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, the good ones.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you get your donut, we've got ours. But literally it was like, and she said, oh, Dad, I'll share with you. I'm like, oh, thanks. No worries. Literally that night, I feel like something. Actually, I'm going to grab one of those donuts. The next day, she goes to look in the fridge and she's looked at something and she's gone, one's missing. I went, yeah.
She's done the stock take on you.
I went, yeah. She goes, who ate it? I went, I did.
That was the seagull.
I did. She goes, why? I went, you said I could. She goes, oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
And I'm like,
I knew I'd regret that.
was I not meant to? She goes, I was going to eat it later. I said,
You told me.
I went, you told me. Don't even. And so, even come back to bite me anyway.
Wow. You've downgraded from seagull to ibis. Shit Dad Pod is powered by Smashing Fibers Apparel, so check them out online and on Instagram, and don't forget to use ShipShitFree at the checkout for free shipping.
Right, now it's time for our Good Cop, Dad Cop quiz. Are you ready, Nick? Are you excited for this one?
I'm always ready for the good cop, dad cop.
All right. Number 1. What is your peak Sunday Arvo activity?
Sunday footy.
Correct answer.
As you can tell, we've got a new sound effects. with
Love the
this one.
soundboard.
Number 2. What's one thing you can't go without daily?
Coffee. Morning coffee.
Correct. One thing you do unintentionally that annoys your partner and can't be snoring because you don't do that anymore.
I'm trying to think. It's probably a fair bit. One thing I do that annoys her. Yeah, that's the first part. Probably, I'm too positive. Rose-coloured glasses. No. Suppose I just go, we'll be right with anything.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be right.
She'll be right.
She'll be right. We'll do this. And because it's got to be planned or this and that. Oh, no, we'll be sweet. She goes, you just look through everything, Rose. You just stop doing it.
Do you drift away from the calendar?
Oh, absolutely.
Correct answer.
Until I get pulled back and get in trouble for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that
You
pisses
can't
her
just.
off.
The question, do you get it? Was it on the calendar?
I get that all the time, and I fucking hate it because I forget when I'll tell her something that's on, and she's like, "But it's not on the calendar," and I'm like,
But I told you.
"So, you're the calendar person? I told you when it's happening." Yeah.
Well, the good one I've had is did you just write this on now?
Yeah, I've totally done that.
They
You
know.
wrote that on 10 minutes ago. They know.
Do you grunt when you stand up?
Definitely. Sadly.
And we've spoken about this. Do you admire your lawn after you've mowed it?
How can you not?
I don't even have to ask
How
that.
can you not?
With your James Squire.
Yeah, you're a weirdo if you don't. Do you bust out a zero James Squire when you?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The best moment I ever had for my lawn was literally built the house, got the landscaping done, and watered it in for those first few weeks, let it really grow really lush green, and that first cut it down, looked smick, sat back, cracked a beer, and then just a light sprinkle of rain came across.
The dream. All right, what's your go-to daddy dinner?
yeah.
I'll have to go with the one that my daughter just absolutely loves, and so things like tacos.
Oh yeah.
Can't go wrong with tacos.
You cannot ever
Absolutely.
go wrong.
Well, you get 2 meals.
That's right.
You eat the taco, then whatever's dropped out on the plate.
100%.
And that's intentionally messy.
Do you use a fork?
A fork.
Good answer. Good answer.
Oh my God, I was thinking, are you serious?
It's all a test, mate. Do you prefer beach or bush when camping?
Camping, bush.
Well, we could have got dirty there. Do you rinse your favourite coffee mug as opposed to washing it? Keep the flavour in.
I wouldn't say I intentionally don't, but I do it more so the fact that I can't be bothered fully washing it, and it ends up like that anyway.
Still good. Do you say do for it when it's a nice day out?
Definitely.
And who is your all-time Favourite rugby player?
David Campese.
Oh,
I know who that is.
yes. Cam just loves sports. Oh, that is so good. Now, we busted something out just recently on the socials, Cam, didn't we? The Stardom Young.
Yeah.
Who was the first person to send one in? I think it was a guest we actually have coming up.
Yes.
Sam. So Sam Taylor, Instagram,
Dadsauce,
dad.sauce.
Yep.
He's got some
coming up next week.
Outstanding content, and we're having a chat to him next week. Really excited about that one as well. But he had a Stardom Young of his young fella raging around in one of those little cars. It's on his reels as well, if you want to go to the socials and check that out. So cheers, Sammy. We also had Tommy from Alpha Blokes podcast, another one worth a listen. It was a slow start, but they are absolutely thriving at the moment, and that's a cracking listen. Tommy sent in his young fella whacking a golf ball, and it's got to be seen to be believed because this kid is talented.
Connects.
Like, he's going places. That was like, he's using a plastic ball on a plastic club, but it's going like 20 meters.
Impressive.
And he's only bloody small. So worth a look. Check out the socials, our socials, obviously. I'll put all the videos up of the Stardom Young. So use the hashtag Stardom Young and tag us as well, and we'll feature you on the next pod. But the one I really wanted to bring up, Cam, is we've got one in from Shalise. So
Send one in.
yeah. So Shalise sent in a Stardom Young of Cam himself taking young Harper on a wine tour.
Oh, yep. That was our trip to Perth. That was a good one.
There you go. Stardom Young. She was crawling along the floor in the cellar room, which was outstanding. She's just checking out all the barrels and seeing what's what, and getting the tour herself. And she was in the little the Ergo, which Cam's the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
And but I really respect the way that you put the cover over her when you were drinking the wine. So
there is a bit of spillage that happens.
of course, especially after a few tastes, you never know where it goes. But that's it. That's that's Shalise's Stardom Young. So I appreciate that, Shalise. So remember, upload your video, hashtag Stardom Young, and tag ShitDadPod as well. Scott, did you send a Stardom Young? You were the original Stardom Young.
You asked for it. You took mine. Mine was a bit of fun.
Scott was the original Stardom Young. This is where the idea came from with the Ergo. Young Hugo. Is it Hugo?
Hugo, yeah.
Hugo's in the Ergo, and he's playing pool, and he's we explained it last pod, but yeah, the original Stardom Young. So really, really good stuff. Now I think it's time for Dad Joke of the Day.
Let's do it.
Right. We got someone in from Kimmy?
Yes. So one of our shit mums has emailed in from Kim. What did the green grape say to the purple grape?
Here we go.
Breathe, damn it, breathe.
Oh, yikes. I'll take it.
And what did the policeman say to his belly button?
Oh, here we go.
Stop, you're under a vest.
Oh, yes. Outstanding.
Not sure if she made them herself, but if she did, well done.
Awesome. All right, I've got a sneaky one as well that I'd like to throw in. I saw it the other day, and I've tried to remember it. I'm not really good at memory, but I'll give it a go. So a guy went into a used car dealership, and he's like checking out all these cars, and he finds this one he really likes, and he asks the question, cargo space? And the used car salesman goes, car no do that, cargo road.
You can ding that, mate.
Oh, wait a minute there. Fine. All right. I'll take it. Right.
Why are frogs so happy?
Oh. Something.
I was thinking ribbit or
Yeah, I'm
something.
thinking, what's happening with ribbit? No?
Nah, they eat whatever bugs them.
Hey!
Ayo.
Ayo!
And this one, I think I gotta say this one. This was one of my favorites. What does a clock do when it's hungry?
Go.
It goes back 4 seconds.
Oh. Yes. I like that. Righto. Well, we're sick of the random dad jokes now. The questionable dad jokes, we'll call it. We'll go to dad hacks. What do we got, Kim?
Yeah. So this is one I discovered on the weekend, and it's linked to my shit dad moment of the week without giving it away. If you ever need to go to the emergency room with your kids, take a phone charger and take headphones and an iPad if you've got it. It's just a bit of advice.
I like that. I might take that away. What do you got? Do you have anything, Scotty? Do you have a hack?
Hack that I learned from having kids who needed medicine and eye drops a lot. So it was actually, I got shown, the doctor said, lay them down, sit them down, they're laying on their back, arms out, almost like on the cross, so to speak.
Yep.
You sit down, their head goes between where your knees and thighs are, and their arms are underneath your legs.
That's outstanding.
And your legs follow their body. They cannot twist, turn, shake their head away or nothing, and you can administer whatever you need, and they do not move.
Hack.
And I've had both our kids need medicine and especially eye drops, and they hate it.
Yeah.
But
get in, get it done.
Get it done. They can't. The fight of trying to get that, it's like freaking feeding a dinosaur, the head going. No, works a treat.
Mate, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but my kids love getting medicine.
Yeah.
This could be like bad for the future, but it's great now.
Well, now that they've like started with that, now they willingly. My 5-year-old will now go, haven't had my medicine yet, Dad.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah. Go get it.
Yep.
And my son tonight, 8 months old, he had to have his medicine before going to bed.
Yeah.
Literally, I walk in with the syringe. He threw his head back, mouth open, and gave me a big smile. He
How
just
good
lays
is
there
it?
waiting for it.
Love it.
That's the dream.
Ours are at the point where you give them medicine and then the other ones get jealous that they're not getting medicine. So you have to like pretend that the water's medicine and you fill it up with water. And there's a bit of a hack. So you fill it up with water and give them medicine.
Yeah.
My daughter had antibiotics a few times for ear infections, and it got to the point because they come with like an orange flavour. She actually got disappointed when you had to stop the course.
Oh,
She's
no.
like, where's my antibiotic? You don't get that now.
No.
She's like, can I get it next week?
Here's some orange juice in a syringe.
Yeah, I'm not buying shopping going for antibiotics.
Right. We are here for Shit Dad Moment of the Week. It is a great time of week and we love it. So we're going to kick it off with our mate Cam here for Shit Dad Moment of the Week.
So last week I spoke about how I had a little bit of an injury with my son, and this week it was an injury for my daughter.
Oh, he's on fire.
Yeah, some real shit dad.
The shit daddery is just rife in this one.
Mate, 2 weeks in a row.
So good.
But once again, as I mentioned before, good content for the pod.
And there's absolutely no judgment here.
So we had our first ever trip to the emergency room. That was our, it's all a learning experience. We've made it 3 years with my daughter, and that was the first time. So she was lying on the ground, acting a fool as usual. I've grabbed her arm by the wrist. I said, "Come on, get up." And it was pretty harmless. It wasn't a yank or anything. It was just let's get off the ground. And I felt a little crack. And sometimes kids' arms, crack when you hold them. You don't think too much of it. But instantly she said, "Oh, my elbow, it's so sore." And this went on for about 20 minutes, and that's when you know she's not putting it on. So I took her to the emergency room, waited a good couple of hours, as they're pretty slow there, but straight away they said, this is what it is. It's called pulled elbow, essentially where it comes out of the socket
Technical.
kind of thing.
Very technical.
They gave me a pamphlet and everything.
Wow.
It was for pulled elbow.
Pulled elbow. Did you slow cook it for 6 hours first, or?
That's right. So all they had to do was a simple kind of, hold it in place, move the arm back like this, and kind of went back into place. Pain's gone instantly, and she got an ice block and got to watch Bluey, so she was happy.
Happy
again.
days. Did you take notes so you could do it next time?
No, it
Like 10
did look
seconds.
pretty technical.
Okay.
I would make it worse, I think. But there you go. If that happens, pulled elbow's a thing. Don't, be babies bounce, but, not too high.
Not too high. That's it. Now, Shit Dad Moment of the Week. I got one approximately an hour and 45 minutes ago submitted from the big man himself, Big Popper Fitstopper's wife. So, Jane, thanks very much for the shout out to Mark. And Mark, I apologise, but we're going to have to air this one. So, Mark, they live at Virginia. Kids go to daycare on the peninsula. And they dropped them off in the morning, all good. Jane was at home at night time. Mark also came home at night time. Jane says, "Where's the kids?" Mark's face goes white. Eyes go wide. Oh, no. Jane gets her mum voice on, jumps in the car, speeds out to the peninsula, grabs the kids, comes home. Moral of the story, Mark is still in the doghouse. Sorry, Mark, that's a shit dad story and we love it. No judgment here. Now, I had a shit dad story of my own this week. It actually happened today. Jumping on the trampoline with kids. We'll ignore the fact that the trampoline comes with a maximum 100 kilos weight limit on it, and I myself am approximately 99 kilos. So anything above that, including extra kids, is probably above weight limit. So I go very conservative on my jumps. I'm not usually a half-assed man. I usually go hard, but they were trying to get me to crack the egg, as it were, where they ball themselves up in the fetal position and you try and crack them open by jumping around them. Anyway, cracked the eggs. The two little ones decided to jump off. The big one stayed on, and I just was a little bit less conservative with this one, and I sent him to the moon. He was not happy. Scott, what do you got?
I got one that, so I don't usually do the whole ballet and stuff with my daughter because I'm at work.
And your dresses don't fit anymore?
Well, the tutus are a bit tight, but we try.
We tried.
But yeah, so being home with holidays and other things, so I was there, so she came to me and the wife was doing stuff too, and we got her ready. Got her out the door. I took her to ballet, dropped her off, waited around, did the whole thing, parent thing, so my wife didn't have to for 1 week. Took her home. She walks in home, hasn't said a word to me at all this whole time.
What have I done?
Yeah, she walks in. My daughter goes straight up to my wife and goes, "Mum, you got to buy me a new leotard." She goes, "Why?" She goes, "This one doesn't fit." She goes, "Really?" She goes, "Why?" Yeah, she goes, "Oh, I've had a massive wedgie this whole time." My wife just looks at her and goes, "Turn around. Show me." She shows her. Wife looks straight at me and she goes, "You put it on backwards."
You tit.
And I turn, there's no tag.
It's a mistake all of us would probably make, to be fair. I actually put my little girl's dress on backwards the other day. Had no idea. Mel got home at the end of the day and she's like, "You know that's on backwards, right?" And I'm like,
the amount of girl stuff now, the zip or the buttons has got the front or the back.
Yeah, I know.
I just go, just do one.
Yeah. My new answer to everything is I'm just a stupid dad.
It works.
It works. Works for me. It gets out of everything. So, yeah. Shit dad moment of the week.
All right, so we've got a couple of listener mails and messages. So obviously these two are competing for our prize. So we'll name a prize winner at the end, thanks to Smashing Fibers. But firstly, we'll get on to Scott. So Scott's been listening and he's been giving us some great feedback. So thanks, mate. This is obviously a different Scott.
Not the one next to us.
So this is one who works with Hamish, who was on a couple of weeks ago.
Radio Dada.
Radio Dada. So Scotty says his personal shit dad moment has been ongoing over the last few days. They're in the early stages of toilet training for his son, and trying an hour in the morning before daycare with the son not wearing a nappy, testing it out. And he's wet himself in almost every room of the house 5 days in a row now. What's the record? He's not sure, but they're going for it. That's brutal, mate.
Marking territory.
Man, we need to bring that into some bad dad advice.
That's I've heard boys are tougher than girls to toilet train.
I have heard that too. Yeah. You get it on everything though. The problem with boys is they don't really aim. Girls, it just goes straight down. Boys, it goes on the walls if they get it wrong.
Then it becomes a bit.
Then it's a game.
Yeah.
Then it's a game. Yeah. Yep. There's something for you to watch. Someone dribbling down the wall.
What, have you heard the ping pong ball?
No? Wait.
Put it in the toilet. That's
okay, cool. Yeah. I was like, wait, are we going to Thailand or staying in Australia?
That's a good one.
No, I've heard that one. When they're old enough, when they can aim, put it in the toilet, and that's what they're aiming for. So they actually focus on it.
Yeah, right.
That's a keeper.
Another dad hack. All right, this next one's once again from our shit mum, Kim. So her partner took their daughter for a drive in the work Triton, which is a very high car. He got home and unbuckled her and asked her to walk across the seat to the other door, and he'd let her out on the footpath side. So he got round to the other door and wasn't looking and just opened it. And it turns out that she was leaning on the door, fell out of that from a good height, landed forehead first on cement.
I do like how she said a good height and not the exact height, but we all know how high Tritons are.
They've got the extra step just to get you down.
Yeah.
2 ambulances and several hour hospital stay later. She's cleared of a head injury, but had a massive shit dad reminder scab on her forehead for weeks. So thanks for sending that through. And stay strong, Jackson. It can happen.
Happens to the best of us, friend. Happens to the best of us. So that's all the listener prize mail. But as we said before, shitdadpod@gmail.com is where to send your shit dad stories or any sort of stories or jokes. Also DM us, slide into our little DMs at shitdadpod on Instagram. Now, Scott, I think I can speak for both me and Cam. I won't speak for Cam because he can have a chat to you in a minute. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. I think there's a lot of guys who would take, or a lot of parents in general who could take a lot away from what you said, especially the stories about your journey through the latter stages of pregnancy and onwards. But yeah, we've really enjoyed the chat. It's been a cracker. Lost track of time, which is always a good thing. So, but yeah, if do you have anything else you'd like to say about your journey? Any advice? Dad advice?
Probably the biggest thing that I took it out all of it was I had a mate who he heard about everything that was going on at the time with my wife and cancer, and his wife had already been going through breast cancer, and I kind of felt bad for saying anything because I kind of like, well, shit. And that's why I was like, there's always going to be someone worse off than you. And I said, nah, well, like it'll be okay. We'll be right. Look what you're dealing with. There's no reason for me to vent to you or talk about like it. And he just turned straight at me, looked me in the eye and said, fuck off, mate. For you, your reality right now is fucked. And what your reality is shit what you're going through. So don't downplay it.
Yeah.
And it just made me always look and think about like that whole run your own race. Look after yourself. Think, because whatever you're going through or what someone's dealing with, it's obviously shit for them. They could have the best life in the world, but whatever, if it's bad for them at that time, it's bad. Even though it could be still 10 times better than what someone else is going through. Because if you look hard enough, you'll always find someone who's worse off.
Yeah.
And it's always also easy to find ways to be worse off yourself. But so that whole just run your own race, your reality is your reality, and you look after that because that's what matters to you.
Definitely.
Great advice, yeah. No, thanks for coming on, mate. And, sharing such a personal story. I think, everyone would have got a lot out of it. So, appreciate it. Cheers.
Awesome. So now just letting all the parents know that you're, like Scotty said, you run your own race. You're doing a cracking job. So on the subject of cracking, go crack a beer and send your kid to the moon with a double bounce on the trampoline. See you later. Have a good week.
Bye.
See ya.